It's important to proofread your work. Even professional writers check their work several times before they submit it. In this pod, we'll look at how you can proofread your work accurately.
Begin by making sure you've read each question correctly. Does your work answer the questions properly? Have you addressed all the key points in the question? Secondly, check that you've numbered all of the answers correctly. When you've done this, quickly read through your answers to make sure they each have clear introductions, conclusions, and topic sentences to guide readers through your ideas.
Errors can sneak in at any time, and they come in a variety of different forms. Let's break down each type of error in turn, beginning with punctuation.
Ask yourself questions about the punctuation you've used. Does every sentence start with a capital letter and end with a full stop, question mark, or exclamation mark? Have you started proper nouns such as names, places, and titles with a capital letter? Are there speech marks around speech and quote marks around quotations? Are lists and long sentences containing extra information broken up with commas? If the answer to any of these is no, go back and fix your answer accordingly.
Apostrophes can cause a lot of problems, so it's worth checking to see if you've used them correctly. We use apostrophes for contractions, which is when two words are merged together. Don't and shouldn't are both examples of contractions. They stand for do not and should not. In each example, the words have been pressed together, a letter has been removed, and an apostrophe fills the space left behind.
Apostrophes are also used for possession. That's showing that an object belongs to someone or something. If something belongs to someone, you should use an apostrophe like Jane's hat or Dan's book. If you happen to encounter a character whose name already ends with an S, don't panic. Let's look at Sherlock Holmes as an example. If you wanted to show possession, you could write Sherlock Holmes' book with an apostrophe after the final S, or Sherlock Holmes's book with an apostrophe and another S at the end. Both are correct.
Colons and semicolons add real depth to your writing, so don't be afraid to use them, but make sure you use them correctly. A semicolon is used to connect two related ideas and to show a relationship between two sentences that are linked in some way. Each side of the semicolon could work as a sentence in its own right, but the semicolon implies a relationship between the two. An example would be, Justine likes kickboxing, semicolon, Ellie likes rock climbing. In this case, the two girls like different things, but the semicolon implies there is a relationship. Another example would be, the interviewer entered the room, semicolon. I froze in panic. In this case, freezing in panic is clearly linked to the interviewer entering the room.
If the second part of a sentence explains the first, you can use a colon. For example, if you say, the house was deserted, colon, its owner died 10 years ago, you are using a colon properly.
Always be on the lookout for spelling errors. One of the most common is homophone confusion. Homophones are words which sound the same but are spelled differently. There, and there are examples of homophones.
Let's look at how to work out if you're using the right word. There, spelt T-H-E-I-R, is used when something belongs to someone. An example is, they put on their coats. Here, the coats clearly belong to the group being discussed, and you would use T-H-E-I-R, there. However, there, spelt T-H-E-R-E, is used more often to refer to places such as, I went over there, and at the beginning of sentences such as, there are 3 women. The final there, spelt T-H-E-Y''R-E, is quite informal and might not be used in your essay writing. If you need to say they are informally, you use this version. For example, you might say, they're moving to New York. When you're proofreading, check through every instance of there, and there, and make sure you have used the correct version.
Which, spelt W-H-I-C-H, and which, spelt W-I-T-C-H, can also be tricky words to spell correctly. The second version of which refers to the magical woman with the green skin and pointy hat. She's very unlikely to be needed in your essay. Unless you're specifically talking about magical witches, try to use only which, W-H-I-C-H, in your essay. This word is used in sentences like, the writer uses the word chilling, which makes the room seem cold and frightening. If in doubt, using WHICH is probably the best option.
We'll leave it there for now. Be sure to continue to our pod, Proofreading Skills Part 2, to learn more proofreading tips.